Hi, everyone. My name is Aviv, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Remilk. A little bit about ourselves. So we've raised over $150 million. We are launching our first products across different countries around the world in the next few months, while we are operating and producing commercial products already today using a few production facilities around the world. What is animal-free dairy, you asking? So basically, it's not plant-based. We're not using oat or almond or soy. We're using milk. But our milk is not coming from cows. It's coming from yeast, from microbes. And before I dive in and explain why should we use yeast to produce dairy products, let me maybe speak about the bigger picture that I'm sure some of you are here because of this reason. I personally here because of this. And when talking about climate change, I would say in this uncertain environment, definitely two things are quite certain. And the first one is the fact that global warming and climate change is the result of human activity. We are the problem. And the second thing that is quite certain is that we are also the solution. We have the power to improve. We have the power to become net zero by 2050 and reduce greenhouse gas emission substantially. And if we'll not, then it's quite certain that we will face severe environmental catastrophes. In fact, we're already facing them today. And when talking about environmental catastrophes, obviously greenhouse gas emission, and you can see behind me the exponential growth in greenhouse gas emission, which is the result of human activities in the last hundreds of years. And I want to take a second and talk about the root cause behind this exponential growth. And you could say the elephant in the room, and in our case, this elephant is actually a cow. Because our food, the food that we consume today, account for 1/3 of the global greenhouse gas emission. And in other words, the production of meat and dairy alone account for more greenhouse gas emissions than all forms of transportation combined. So that's one hell of a problem, and definitely we need to find a way to solve it. Now, when talking about dairy production, I'm talking much more than greenhouse gas emission. I'm talking about the fact that half of the world's habitable land is used to produce meat and dairy, half of the world's habitable land. And studies show that we will produce and we will consume around 70% more protein by 2050. So we will need almost 2 times the land while we are already utilizing almost half of the world's land. I'm talking about water. I'm talking about waste. Cows alone produce more than 70 times waste than all waste in America, and that's definitely something we should address as well. Now, luckily or thankfully, some solutions are already here. We know plant-based options that are definitely radically more sustainable than animal production, but those alternatives, the oat milk, the soy burger that we eat, those alternatives cannot deliver the industry transformation that is required to reduce this 1/3 of global greenhouse gas emissions. And then let me ask you a question. What is required to transform this industry? And basically, let me help you and answer this specific question, and I will simplify it by giving you 3 main components that are needed. The first one, quite obvious, is the technology. And this is where Remilk outperforms everyone else at the moment with a technology that have the same quality, meaning the same taste, the same texture, the same nutritional aspects as animal-based products. That means that people here that would like to taste our products, just like Marco said, we have products here, cream cheese, yogurt. You will not be able to tell the difference between our product and a cow-based yogurt or a cow-based cream cheese that you can buy today. But quality is not enough. Definitely having those products at the same cost is essential to drive this transformation. And not only this, we need to have at least some, I would say, nutritional advantage to the traditional products, and definitely drive a significant positive impact. So summarizing the technology, we're talking about quality parity, cost parity, and definitely health and impact that are needed. The second parameter, definitely we need the execution capabilities to drive this transformation. And specifically, I'm talking about supply chain, okay? The ability to drive massive volumes of those products that are, talking about the food industry. Scale is definitely a key parameter to solve and transform the market. And the third one is financing, the ability to drive the business forward using the capital needed in this regard. Moving forward, enter Remilk. And in this regard, I can tell you that we are already operating at full scale, producing large volumes of dairy products that taste just like an animal-based products under a competitive price, launching our products across the globe in the next few months, driving this transformation through cost parity, quality parity, not through environmental impact, although it's important, but through the fact that we can drive a transformation by using the strength of our economy, allowing existing brands, existing CPG companies to transform their portfolio using an ingredient they know. Our protein, as I mentioned, is indistinguishable. And in the next 2 minutes, let's spend a little bit talking about the technology. How can we produce dairy products using yeast? So I'll simplify that in 4 simple steps. The first one is the transformation. What we're doing in simple words, we take the recipe from the cow on how to make milk, and we insert this recipe into the yeast. This recipe is a specific gene embedded into the DNA of the cow, and by copying the recipe, we allow the yeast, using fermentation, to produce the same molecule that cow is producing. So we're not talking about an alternative. We are talking about the same proteins that cows are making. And after isolating those proteins, we are formulating dairy products that taste just like regular dairy products. And I invite you, everyone who are interested in our technology, in our process. We have dozens of samples waiting here for people that would like to taste yogurt, cream cheese, and other. I see you guys raising hands, so you can find me afterwards. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.